My parents handed me a $10 check at my wedding reception and laughed. Sorry, honey, but we spent your college fund on your sister's new Tesla. She's just always been the priority for us. When my new husband asked if they were joking, my father shrugged and said, hey, at least we showed up to the circus. I just smiled and said, thanks for making this so easy for me. That was 12 days ago. This morning, I woke up to my sister's Instagram being deactivated and 67 panicked calls from my parents. Let me explain what happened. At the reception, my Aunt Susan was sitting 2 tables over. She heard everything. The $10 check, the Tesla comment, the circus line. I remember seeing her face go completely white, and honestly, I thought she might actually stand up and make a scene right there, but she didn't. Instead, she just pulled out her phone, and I watched her thumbs moving across the screen like she was possessed or something. Before the cake was even cut, she grabbed her phone and posted about it in our family group chat. By midnight, 23 relatives had seen it. By morning, 31. My cousin Danny was the first to respond. Wait, they gave Natalie $10 at her wedding? Then, like 2 minutes later, Uncle Bob, I've been sending money for Natalie's college fund every Christmas. Where did that go? Mom tried damage control. There's been a misunderstanding. We love both daughters equally, but the damage was done. I mean, you can't really walk back something like that, you know? The family chat was literally exploding with people asking questions, and my mom kept typing these long defensive messages that just made everything worse. Day 2, Chelsea posted on Instagram a video of her washing her Tesla captioned, Sunday self-care with my baby, with hashtags like blessed and Tesla life. She tagged our parents. I actually saw the post before Aunt Susan did, and I remember thinking, Chelsea, what are you doing? Like, read the room, you know? Aunt Susan screenshot it within minutes, posted it in the family chat with one line. This is the car they bought instead of Natalie's education. The chat exploded. 17 people typing at once. My phone was basically having a seizure from all the notifications. Day 3, I got a call from Uncle Bob. He wanted to know where his money went. See, he'd been sending $500 every single Christmas for 8 years, specifically marked for Natalie's college fund. He actually kept copies of all the checks, the envelopes, everything. I wrote, for Natalie's college fund on every single one, he told me. His voice was shaking. Your mother signed for every package. Where did it go, Natalie? I honestly didn't know what to tell him. I never saw any of it. Uncle Bob, I had no idea you were sending anything. Mom couldn't explain where it went. When Uncle Bob called her directly, she apparently said something about emergency family expenses, and we needed to keep the house. He told me later that she hung up on him mid-sentence. Day 4, Aunt Karen called. Same story. She'd sent $300 every birthday for 10 years. That's $3,000 right there. She was crying on the phone. I thought I was helping you, sweetie. I thought you'd have this amazing college fund waiting for you. Day 5, the country club incident. Mom called me crying. Mrs. Harrison had cornered her at lunch asking if the rumors were true, if they'd really stolen from me. The way Mom told it, Mrs. Harrison had basically announced it to their entire table, 8 women, all her so-called friends, and just sat there waiting for an answer. Mom was humiliated. How could you let this happen? She sobbed into the phone. Mrs. Harrison asked me point blank if we stole from our own daughter. In front of everyone. Natalie. Everyone. I told her I hadn't said anything to anyone. People are just connecting the dots, Mom. Well, make them stop, she hissed, and I swear I could hear Dad yelling something in the background. Day 6 changed everything. I got a letter from my grandmother's estate lawyer, the one who handled her will 3 years ago. I remember holding the envelope, looking at the return address, and just knowing it was going to be bad. Mike was sitting next to me on the couch. What is it? He asked. It's from Grandma's lawyer. Apparently, my grandmother had left me $35,000 before she died, specifically for college. The money went to my parents as trustees since I was only 19 at the time. I never saw a single cent. The letter explained that the lawyer's office had been trying to reach me for a follow-up matter and realized I'd never received the funds. There was this whole paragraph about how they'd assumed everything had been properly distributed, but some recent estate audit had flagged inconsistencies. I literally couldn't breathe for like a full minute. Mike had to take the letter from my hands because I was shaking so hard. $35,000, I whispered. Grandma left me $35,000, and they never told me. Day 7, Dad called. His voice was shaking. Natalie, sweetheart, we need to talk. The family is threatening to pull all funding from the consulting business unless we make things right. You have to understand, we were going to tell you. When? I interrupted. When were you going to tell me? At my college graduation that never happened because I couldn't afford tuition? Or maybe at my wedding when you gave me a $10 check? The family was threatening to pull all funding from their consulting business unless they made things right. See, most of Dad's clients were family connections. Uncle Bob's firm, Aunt Karen's company, Cousin Danny's startup, they were basically his entire client base. Natalie, we'll fix this. Just tell them to stop. We'll figure out a payment plan or something, we just need them to back off for now. I said, fix what exactly? Silence. Then, don't be smart with me, young lady. This is serious. Your mother and I could lose everything. You already lost everything, Dad. You just don't know it yet. Day 8. Chelsea called me for the first time in 6 months. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Apparently, her Instagram comments were brutal. People were calling her spoiled, entitled, a thief. Someone had found her Facebook, her LinkedIn, her old Twitter. She'd deactivated everything. This is your fault, she sobbed. You turned everyone against me. I said, I posted nothing, Chelsea. I said nothing. You posted your Tesla. Mom and Dad said what they said. This is on you. I didn't ask for any of this, she screamed, and I heard something crash in the background. I didn't ask them to buy me a car. I didn't ask them to. She stopped. To what, Chelsea? Nothing. Forget it. Tell me. I have to go. Day 9. My husband Mike and I met with a lawyer just to see our options. Her name was Jennifer Kowalski, and she came highly recommended by one of Mike's colleagues. The office was in one of those old downtown buildings with creaky floors and tall windows. It felt serious, you know, like things were actually moving forward. Turns out what my parents did has a legal name. Conversion, she said, writing it down. Breach of fiduciary duty. Potentially fraud, depending on how the funds were documented and how they were used. The lawyer asked how much we were talking about total. I did the math. Uncle Bob's $4,000. Aunt Karen's $3,000. Grandma's $35,000. The original college fund my parents set up when I was born, roughly $32,000. I'd found the old bank statements in a box in their attic years ago, back when I still had access to their house. Birthday money from relatives over the years. Another $8,000. I'd kept a journal as a kid, and I'd written down every birthday check, every Christmas envelope. My summer job savings they borrowed for Chelsea's study abroad, $5,000. I had the bank withdrawal slips for that one, because I'd been so proud of saving that much. Conservative estimate, $87,000. The lawyer raised her eyebrows. We can absolutely work with this. Do you have documentation? Some. A lot, actually. She leaned forward. Here's what I need you to understand. This isn't just about the money. This is about establishing a pattern of financial abuse and manipulation. If we pursue this, we're opening up their entire financial history. Are you prepared for that? I looked at Mike. He squeezed my hand. Yeah, I said. I am. Day 10, I sent my parents one email. No threats, just numbers. An itemized list of every dollar they had taken, every source, every date. I'd spent 6 hours putting it together, cross-referencing bank statements, old cards, journals, everything. Subject line, what you owe me. I didn't ask for the money. I just wanted them to see it in writing. I wanted them to see what they'd done, line by line, dollar by dollar, lie by lie. Day 11, nothing. Radio silence. I checked my phone probably 200 times that day. Mike kept asking if I was okay, and honestly, I wasn't sure. Part of me expected them to call screaming. Part of me expected them to show up at my door. But there was just nothing. Day 12, I found Chelsea sitting on my porch at 7 a.m., no makeup, wearing the same clothes from yesterday. Her hair was pulled back in this messy bun, and she had these dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept in days. I almost didn't recognize her at first. Chelsea never left the house without a full face of makeup, you know? I didn't ask for the Tesla. She said it so quietly, I almost missed it. I told them not to do it, that it wasn't right. I thought they'd saved money for both of us. I sat down next to her on the step. It was cold, and I could see her breath in the air. Then why didn't you say something at my wedding? She started crying harder. Because I found out the same day you did. I opened the glove compartment last week looking for the registration, and I found receipts. Natalie, they didn't buy the Tesla. They leased it in my name without telling me. The payments are $1,100 a month for 5 years, and they forged my signature. And yesterday I got a letter saying if I don't start making payments immediately, they're going to... She stopped mid-sentence, staring past me at something behind my shoulder, and when I turned around, I saw Dad's car pulling into my driveway with someone in the passenger seat I definitely wasn't expecting. Tyler, Chelsea's ex-boyfriend Tyler, the guy she dated for like 3 years before he suddenly moved across the state and cut off all contact. Chelsea had cried for months, and Mom had said good riddance, that he was never good enough for her anyway. I stood up, and Chelsea scrambled to her feet next to me. What is he doing here? She whispered. Dad parked the car but didn't get out right away. I could see him and Tyler talking, their mouths moving, Dad gesturing with his hands. Then Tyler opened his door, and Dad did too, and they both started walking toward us. Tyler looked exactly the same. Same messy brown hair, same gym build, same navy blue jacket he used to wear everywhere. But his expression, I'd never seen him look like that before. Determined, maybe, or angry. It was hard to tell. Natalie, Dad started, his voice already taking on that pleading tone I was starting to recognize. We need to talk. Tyler here has something that... I have recordings, Tyler interrupted, and Dad's face went red. Tyler, we discussed this. Yeah, we discussed you trying to bribe me to keep quiet. I told you in the car, I'm not doing that. Tyler pulled out his phone, holding it up. I have recordings from 2 years ago when your parents asked me to co-sign the Tesla lease using fake documents. I refused, obviously, but I secretly recorded everything because something felt off. Chelsea grabbed my arm. What? They came to my apartment, Tyler continued, looking at Chelsea now. Your dad and your mom. They had all these papers, and they kept saying it was just a formality, that they'd make all the payments, that it was just easier to put it in your name for tax purposes or insurance reasons, or whatever excuse they were using that day. But then they pulled out a W-2 form with my name on it, and it had my social security number, but the income was completely wrong. I worked at Best Buy back then, and this thing said I made $85,000 a year. Jesus, I muttered. I asked where they got my information, and your mom just smiled and said Chelsea had given it to them. But I knew Chelsea wouldn't do that, so I started recording on my phone. I got about 40 minutes of them basically admitting they were going to commit fraud and rope me into it. Dad was shaking his head. That's not Tyler. You're misrepresenting. I have the recordings right here, Mr. Peterson. Would you like me to play them now, or should we go inside? Dad and Mom were there to beg Natalie not to share the information Tyler was offering, but I could see the desperation all over Dad's face. His eyes kept darting between me and Tyler, and he was doing that thing where he runs his hand through his hair when he's stressed. Natalie, sweetie, please. Mom's voice came from the car. I hadn't even noticed she'd been in the back seat. She climbed out, smoothing down her shirt, trying to compose herself. This is all a big misunderstanding. Tyler is confused about what happened, and if we could just talk privately. No, I said. Tyler, come inside. I walked to my front door, unlocked it, and held it open. Tyler walked past me, then Chelsea, who was staring at him like she'd seen a ghost. I looked back at my parents standing in the driveway. "You can wait out here," I said, and closed the door. Inside, Mike was coming down the stairs in his pajama pants and a t-shirt, looking confused. What's going on?" "This is Tyler," I said, "Chelsea's ex. He has recordings of mom and dad trying to commit fraud." Mike blinked. "Okay, anyone want coffee?" We sat in the living room. Tyler pulled up the recordings on his phone and hit play. The audio was a little muffled at first, like his phone had been in his pocket, but then it got clearer. Dad's voice. "Just need you to sign here and here. It's really quite simple." Tyler's voice. "I don't understand why you need my information for Chelsea's car." Mom's voice. "Well, honey, it's complicated. The lease company requires 2 co-signers for someone Chelsea's age, and we thought since you two are so serious, it would be a nice gesture. You'd be helping her build credit." Tyler. "But this W-2 isn't accurate. I don't make anywhere near this much." Dad, laughing. "It's just a formality. The lease company doesn't actually verify these things. They just need the paperwork to look good." Tyler. "That sounds illegal." Mom. "Oh, don't be dramatic. Everyone does this. It's like rounding up on your taxes." Tyler. "It's not like that at all, actually." Dad's voice got harder. "Look, son, we came to you because we thought you cared about Chelsea. If you're not willing to help her out with something this simple, maybe you're not the right fit for our family." There was a pause, then Tyler's voice. "I think you should leave." Mom. "Tyler, please, just think about." Tyler. "I'm not signing anything. Please leave." The recording ended. Chelsea had her hand over her mouth. "They told me you broke up with me because you found someone else." Tyler looked at her, and I saw something pass between them, some old hurt rising to the surface. "They called me 3 days after that conversation and said if I didn't stay away from you, they'd report me to the police for harassment. Your dad said he had connections and could make my life very difficult. I was 23, working retail, and terrified, so I left. I have more recordings." Tyler continued, swiping through his phone. "After I refused, they kept calling me, threatening me, trying to bribe me, then threatening me again. I documented everything because I was genuinely scared they'd try to frame me for something." He played another clip. Mom's voice. "We could make this worth your while. $5,000 cash if you just sign the papers. No one needs to know." Tyler. "I already told you no." Dad. "You're making a big mistake, kid. We're offering you easy money and you're throwing it away for what? Some moral high ground?" Tyler. "I'm not going to commit fraud. Stop calling me." The recordings revealed that mom and dad had planned to pin the entire Tesla debt on Chelsea from the start, deliberately sabotaging her credit to keep her financially dependent on them. There was one clip where mom literally said, "Once she's got this lease in her name, she'll never be able to move out. She'll need us." Chelsea was crying now, and I handed her a tissue box. Mike was standing in the corner with his arms crossed, just shaking his head. "Why didn't you tell me?" Chelsea asked Tyler. "Why didn't you warn me?" "I tried," he said quietly. "I called you twice from a friend's phone after they threatened me. You didn't answer. Then I sent you a letter, but I don't know if you ever got it." "I never got any letter." "Your parents probably intercepted it. I sent it to your parents' house because I didn't know where else to send it. I realized our parents have been systematically controlling both daughters through manufactured financial crises, and I asked Tyler for copies of everything. Can you send me all of these recordings?" "Already done," he said, pulling a flash drive from his pocket. "Everything's on here. Recordings, transcripts I made, copies of the fake documents they showed me, everything. I kept it all because honestly, I thought eventually they'd try to pull something and I'd need proof I wasn't involved." "Why are you doing this now?" Chelsea asked. "Why did you come back?" Tyler looked at her. "Because I saw your wedding post on Facebook. You weren't careful with your privacy settings, and I saw the comments. I saw what they did to Natalie, and I realized they'd probably done the same thing to you. I couldn't just sit on this information anymore. It felt wrong." There was a knock on the door, hard, insistent. "Natalie!" Dad's voice. "We know Tyler's in there. This is ridiculous. We're your parents. Let us in." I walked to the door, opened it just enough to stick my head out. "Go home." "We will not. That boy is filling your head with lies and—" "I heard the recordings, Dad. Every single one." Mom pushed forward. "Natalie, please, you don't understand. We were trying to protect Chelsea from making a mistake with that boy. He was manipulative and he has video of you trying to get him to commit fraud, Mom. He has you on tape saying you wanted to trap Chelsea with debt so she couldn't leave. Go. Home." I shut the door and locked it. The pounding continued for another 5 minutes before Mike called the non-emergency police line. "Yeah, hi. We have 2 people on our property who won't leave and they're banging on our door. Can you send someone?" The pounding stopped. I heard their car start, then pull away. The next morning, Mike and I started going through all our financial records, and that's when we discovered something that made my blood run cold. We found documents Chelsea had pulled from our parents' house. She'd gone there the night before while they were at my place, knowing they'd be distracted. She'd taken photos of everything in Dad's home office. Dad's consulting business is actually nearly bankrupt. The papers showed a business account with a balance of negative $47,000. There were collection notices from vendors, angry emails from clients about unpaid invoices, letters from the IRS about back taxes. But that wasn't the worst part. Chelsea found documentation showing they've been stealing from multiple family members for years. Not just me. There were copies of checks from Uncle Bob, Aunt Karen, Cousin Danny, even Great Aunt Ruth, who lived in Florida and sent money every Christmas. Every single check was marked for Natalie's college fund, or for Natalie's education, or for Chelsea's future. None of it ever went where it was supposed to. But there was more. Pages and pages of credit card statements, and not normal purchases. Casino charges. $500 at Desert Diamond Casino. $1,200 at Casino Arizona. $800 at Talking Stick Resort. Page after page after page, going back 7 years. "They have a gambling addiction," Mike said, staring at the papers spread across our dining room table. This has to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I called Chelsea. Did you see the casino charges? Yeah, her voice was flat. There are bank statements in there too. They withdrew $15,000 from Grandma's inheritance in one weekend last year. 3 different ATMs at 3 different casinos. We spent the entire day organizing everything. By evening, we had a complete picture. Our parents had been using family money to maintain appearances while drowning in debt from their own secret gambling addiction. The consulting business was failing because Dad was spending more time at casinos than with clients. The country club membership, the nice cars, the designer clothes, all of it was a facade, maintained with stolen money and maxed out credit cards. We need to tell the family, I said. Mike nodded. But do it right. Call a meeting. Present everything at once, so they can't try to control the narrative. I called Uncle Bob. Can we use your house tomorrow night? I need to have a family meeting, and Mom and Dad can't know about it. What's this about, Natalie? It's about everything, Uncle Bob, and it's worse than you think. The next evening, 23 family members crowded into Uncle Bob's living room. Aunt Karen was there, Cousin Danny, Great Aunt Ruth had driven up from Florida. Even some cousins I barely knew had shown up. The group chat had been exploding with speculation all day. I stood up front with Chelsea beside me, both of us holding folders of evidence. Thank you all for coming, I started, and my voice only shook a little. I know this is unusual, but Chelsea and I discovered something you all need to know. I handed out copies of the documents we'd organized. Each family member got a packet showing their own stolen money highlighted. Uncle Bob opened his and went pale. These are my checks. Every one of them, I said, made out to my college fund. 8 years of Christmas gifts, $4,000 total. I never saw a single dollar. Aunt Karen was flipping through her pages, her hands shaking. I sent money for 10 years. For Natalie's birthdays. Where did it go? That's when Chelsea stepped forward. She hooked up her laptop to Uncle Bob's TV and pulled up a spreadsheet we'd created. We tracked everything. Every check, every deposit, every withdrawal. We know where the money went. She clicked to the next slide. It was a pie chart. 67% gambling, 22% luxury purchases, 11% minimum credit card payments. The room erupted. They were gambling with our money? Cousin Danny stood up. I sent $2,000 over 3 years. I was a broke college student and I sent money because I thought I was helping Natalie. There's more, I said, and the room quieted. Chelsea, show them the inheritance. Chelsea clicked to the next slide. It was a copy of Grandma's will. Grandma left Natalie $35,000 for college, Chelsea explained. But she also left another $50,000 in a trust for Aunt Karen's daughter Rebecca for her medical school fund. Aunt Karen's face went white. What? The will was modified 2 weeks before Grandma died, I said. Someone forged Grandma's signature on a revision that redirected Rebecca's $50,000 into a general family fund that Mom and Dad controlled. The lawyer caught it and nullified the changes, but the money was supposed to be distributed 3 years ago. Aunt Karen, did you ever receive that $50,000 for Rebecca? No, Aunt Karen whispered. They told me Grandma had changed her mind before she died. They said she wanted the money to go to family expenses instead. They lied, Chelsea said. The original will was honored. The money was distributed to Mom and Dad as trustees for Rebecca since she was only 16. They were supposed to set up a trust fund. They never did. They spent it. Aunt Karen stood up so fast her chair fell over. My daughter lost her spot at Johns Hopkins because we couldn't afford it. She's at community college right now working 2 jobs because we can't pay for medical school. They stole my daughter's future. Uncle Bob pulled out his phone. I'm calling them right now. Wait, I said. There's one more thing. I played Tyler's recordings. All of them. Every attempt at fraud, every threat, every manipulation. When it was done, the room was silent. Then Great Aunt Ruth, who was 87 years old and barely 5 feet tall, stood up and said very clearly, I want my money back and I want it now. The room exploded again. Everyone was yelling, pulling out their phones. Some people were crying. Uncle Bob was trying to get everyone to calm down, but it wasn't working. Finally, he stood on a chair and shouted, Quiet! Everyone stopped. Here's what we're going to do, he said, his voice hard. I'm pulling my contracts. Effective immediately. If anyone else in this room does business with them, I strongly suggest you do the same. We're going to make this very simple. They return every penny, or we pursue this legally. As a group. I'm in, Aunt Karen said immediately. Me too, said Cousin Danny. Absolutely, said Great Aunt Ruth. One by one, every person in that room agreed. Uncle Bob looked at me. Natalie, you started this. What do you want to do? I glanced at Chelsea, who nodded. I want them to face consequences, I said. Real ones. I'm tired of them getting away with everything. Then that's what we'll do, Uncle Bob said. The next morning, I woke up to 14 missed calls from Dad. I didn't call back. Instead, I made coffee and waited. At 9 a.m., Dad's consulting business phone started ringing. Uncle Bob was calling to cancel his contracts. By 9:30, Cousin Danny had called. By 10, Aunt Karen. By noon, Dad had lost 80% of his income overnight. At 2 p.m., I was in the kitchen making lunch when I heard a car screech into our driveway. I looked out the window and saw my parents' car parked at an angle, like they'd stopped too fast. They both got out and started running toward my door. Mike was upstairs in his office on a work call. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera app, and started recording before they even reached the porch. The pounding started immediately. Natalie, open this door right now! I stood by the window where they couldn't see me, phone pointed at the door, recording everything. You've ruined us. Do you understand? You've ruined your own parents. Mom's voice, shrill and panicked. We could lose the house. Is that what you want? You want your parents homeless? You poisoned the whole family against us. We gave you life. We raised you. This is how you repay us? I heard Mike's footsteps on the stairs. He appeared next to me, took in the situation, and immediately moved toward the door. Don't, I whispered, still recording. Let them finish. Dad was still screaming. Uncle Bob pulled his contracts. All of them. Karen did too. We have nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. Natalie, please. Mom was crying now. Just tell them it was all a mistake. Tell them you misunderstood. We'll figure something out with you. We'll pay you back somehow. Just please make them stop. Open this goddamn door. Mike had heard enough. He physically blocked the door from the inside, standing with his back against it while I kept filming. Dad started kicking it. I'm calling the police, Mike said to me calmly. Already done, I replied, because I'd texted 911 during Dad's first scream. The police arrived 6 minutes later. I watched through the window as 2 officers got out of their car and approached my parents, who were still pounding on my door. The officers spoke to them for a moment, then one officer approached the door and knocked. I opened it. Ma'am, do you know these people? They're my parents. Do you want them on your property? No. Have they threatened you? I held up my phone, still recording. I have video of the last 10 minutes if you'd like to see it. The officer nodded. Please send that to this email address. Sir, ma'am, you need to leave this property now. I watched them walk back to their car, Mom crying, Dad's face red with rage. As they drove away, Dad looked directly at me through the window, and the expression on his face was something I'd never seen before. Pure hatred. That night, Chelsea called. They came to my apartment. What did they say? That this is all my fault too. That I betrayed them by giving you the documents. Mom said I was dead to her. Then she tried to hug me and begged me to come home, all in the same breath. It was. She trailed off. It was scary, Nat. Like, genuinely scary. I've never seen them like this. Are you okay? I don't know. I installed a deadbolt on my door just now. I'm actually thinking about staying somewhere else for a while. Come here, I said immediately. We have a guest room. Stay as long as you need. Are you sure? Chelsea, we're in this together now. Yeah, I'm sure. She showed up an hour later with 2 suitcases and a backpack. Mike helped her bring everything upstairs while I made tea. Thank you, she said quietly, sitting at our kitchen table. For not hating me. You didn't know, I said. And when you found out, you helped. That's what matters. Over the next few days, things escalated fast. A foreclosure notice appeared on Mom and Dad's front door. Chelsea drove by and took a picture, sent it to me. The notice said they'd missed mortgage payments for 8 months and the bank was beginning foreclosure proceedings. 8 months, Chelsea texted. They've been lying about everything for 8 months at least. Then she texted again. There's more. Come over when you can. I drove to our parents' house. Chelsea still had a key, and they weren't home. We parked down the street and waited until we saw their car leave, then went inside. The house was a mess. Not like dirty dishes in the sink mess, but like falling apart mess. The paint was peeling in the hallway. There was a water stain on the ceiling in the dining room. The carpet in the living room had a huge stain that looked like it had been there for months. They've been letting everything go, Chelsea said. Look at this. She showed me the mail piled on the kitchen counter, collection notices, overdue bills, a letter from the Homeowners Association about unpaid fees. But the real discovery was in Dad's office. Chelsea had found a key to his locked file cabinet, and inside were bank statements going back 10 years. We spent 3 hours going through everything, and the picture that emerged was devastating. The gambling had started small, $50 here, $100 there, but by year 3, Dad was withdrawing thousands at a time. Mom's statements showed the same pattern. They'd been feeding this addiction together, lying to each other about how much they were losing, then lying to the family about why they needed money. But there was something else. Credit card applications in Chelsea's name. 3 of them. All approved, all maxed out. The statements showed charges for cash advances, casino transactions, online gambling sites. They opened credit cards in my name, Chelsea said, her voice hollow. Without asking me, without telling me. The total debt in her name was $34,000. I'm going to be sick, she whispered. We're going to fix this, I told her. This is identity theft. This is fraud. We're documenting everything. We took pictures of every statement, every application, every piece of evidence we could find. Then we put everything back exactly as we'd found it and left. 2 days later, I made a decision. I created an anonymous email account and sent a carefully worded message to every single person at my parents' country club, their church congregation, and Dad's professional network. I didn't include the evidence, I just included a link to a password-protected Google Drive folder. The email said, if you've done business with or donated money to the Peterson family in the last 10 years, you may want to review these documents. Password is Truth Matters 2024. I sent it at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. By 9 a.m., the Google Drive showed 47 people had accessed it. By noon, Mom's phone was ringing off the hook. Chelsea was still staying with us, and around 1 p.m., she got a call from someone at their church. Chelsea, this is Patricia Miller. I'm calling because there are some very serious allegations circulating about your parents, and I wanted to reach out directly before we make any decisions about their involvement in our ministry programs. Chelsea put the call on speaker so I could hear. What kind of allegations? Financial impropriety, fraud, theft from family members. Chelsea, honey, is any of this true? Chelsea looked at me. I nodded. Yes, she said. All of it. They've stolen from me too. There was a long pause. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I had no idea. We're going to be making some changes to our volunteer structure, and I wanted you to know it has nothing to do with you or your sister. You're both welcome at our church anytime. Thank you, Chelsea whispered. Within 48 hours, Mom was asked to step down from every volunteer position she held. The church's women's ministry, the charity auction committee, the Christmas pageant planning board, all of it, gone. Dad was quietly removed from the country club's membership roster. No announcement, no explanation. Just a letter informing him his membership had been terminated effective immediately. I found out later that Mrs. Harrison, the woman who'd confronted Mom at lunch, had personally lobbied for their removal. We We can't have people like that representing our club, she'd apparently said at a board meeting. The social exile was complete and brutal. Then Chelsea made another discovery. She'd been going through her own financial records trying to untangle the credit card mess when she found a storage unit rental agreement in her parents' names. She'd never known they had a storage unit. Want to check it out? She asked me. Absolutely. We drove to the facility at 11 p.m., when it was mostly deserted. The unit number was on the rental agreement, and Chelsea had found a key in Mom's jewelry box during one of our evidence-gathering trips. The unit was packed, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, boxes and bags and furniture. We started opening things. Designer handbags, dozens of them. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Prada. Some still had price tags. Jewelry, real stuff, expensive stuff. Diamond earrings, gold bracelets, watches that probably cost more than my car. Electronics, iPads, still in boxes, laptops, gaming systems, a drone, high-end cameras. This is probably $100,000 worth of stuff, Chelsea breathed. Where did they get the money for all this? They didn't, I said, taking photos of everything. This is our money, this is Uncle Bob's money, this is Rebecca's medical school fund. We documented every single item, then looked at the rental agreement. The rent was $200 a month, and according to the attached payment history, it hadn't been paid in 4 months. The storage company is going to auction this off if they don't pay, Chelsea said. I had an idea. Let's make sure that happens. I called the storage facility from a burner phone app the next day, pretending to be a neighbor who'd noticed the unit's lock had been broken. When they went to check, they discovered the unpaid rent and immediately put a lien on the unit. 3 weeks later, everything was auctioned off. Chelsea and I watched from a distance as strangers picked through our parents' hoard of luxury items. Every bag, every piece of jewelry, every electronic device sold to the highest bidder. The money went to pay off the storage facility debt. Our parents got nothing. But the biggest revelation was still coming. Aunt Karen had hired a private investigator to look into Grandma's will situation. What he found changed everything. Grandma's will had been modified not once, but 3 times in the final month of her life. Each time, the changes favored our parents more and more. The investigator compared the signatures on each version to known samples of Grandma's signature from medical documents, birthday cards, and legal papers. These are forgeries, the investigator told Aunt Karen, who immediately shared the report with all of us. Poorly done ones. Actually, your grandmother's signature had a distinctive loop on the G that's missing in all 3 modifications. Plus, her arthritis medication would have made it nearly impossible for her to write with this much pressure in the final weeks of her life. He'd also discovered something else. The lawyer who'd handled the will, the one who'd caught the discrepancy and nullified it, had reported his suspicions to the State Bar Association. There was an open ethics investigation. Your parents had planned this financial abuse for years, the investigator said during a conference call with the whole family. The will forgeries, the stolen college funds, the credit cards in Chelsea's name. This is a pattern of behavior that goes back at least a decade, possibly longer. I created a detailed timeline of every theft, every lie, every manipulation going back 15 years. It took me 3 days, working with Chelsea, going through every document we'd collected, every bank statement, every email, every text message. The timeline was 47 pages long. We sent copies to everyone in the family, to our lawyer, and to the investigator. We also sent a copy to the State Attorney General's office with a formal complaint about the will forgery, and then we waited. Mom and Dad tried to flee. Chelsea heard about it through a mutual friend whose mom was in Mom's former book club. Apparently, they'd told people they were taking a much-needed vacation and would be gone for a few weeks. They packed up Dad's car and drove toward his brother's house in Oregon. Uncle David had always been the family wild card. He'd had his own legal troubles years ago and wasn't exactly close with the rest of the family, so Dad probably thought he'd be sympathetic. But Uncle Bob had already called ahead and warned everyone. He'd created an email chain with every relative he could find, explaining the situation and asking everyone to refuse to help Mom and Dad if they came asking. Uncle David sent a one-line response. If they show up here, I'm calling the cops. Dad's car broke down somewhere outside of Redding, California. A timing belt, apparently. The repair cost was $1,800, and they couldn't afford it. They had to call Chelsea for help because their credit cards were maxed and they'd burned every other bridge. Chelsea put the call on speaker so I could hear. Chelsea, baby, please. Mom's voice was desperate. We're stranded. We just need $2,000 to get the car fixed and get somewhere safe. Please, honey. Where are you going? Chelsea asked. That doesn't matter right now. We just need... Where are you going, Mom? Silence. You're running away, Chelsea said. You're trying to hide from what you did. We're not running. We just need some time away from all this stress and... You opened credit cards in my name? Chelsea interrupted. You committed identity theft against your own daughter. You stole my future, just like you stole Natalie's. And now you want me to give you money? Chelsea, please. No, Chelsea said, and her voice was steady. Figure it out yourself. She hung up. They ended up sleeping in their car for 2 nights before finally turning around and driving home. I know because Chelsea's friend's mom saw them pull into their driveway at 6 a.m., looking exhausted and defeated. But things kept getting worse for them. I'd sent the evidence package to a journalist I knew from college who worked for the local newspaper. She'd been interested in doing a story about financial elder abuse, and our parents' case fit perfectly. The story ran on the front page of the Sunday edition under the headline, "Local Couple Accused of Decade-Long Financial Fraud Against Family Members." The article was damning. It included quotes from Uncle Bob, Aunt Karen, and Great Aunt Ruth. It mentioned the forged will, the stolen college funds, the identity theft. It didn't use Mom and Dad's names because of legal concerns, but it included enough details that anyone who knew them would recognize the story. The comments section exploded. People from their church, the country club, Dad's former clients all chiming in with their own stories of suspicious financial dealings with the Petersons. One woman wrote about how Dad had borrowed $3,000 to invest in a business opportunity that never materialized. Another person described Mom asking for donations to a charity that didn't seem to exist. Within 24 hours, the story had been shared over 500 times on social media. By 48 hours, it had been picked up by regional news sites. Mom and Dad's phones were ringing constantly. Journalists, lawyers, collection agencies, former friends demanding answers. They stopped answering. The country club held their annual charity gala that weekend. Mom had been the event coordinator for 12 years. She'd planned every detail, chosen every vendor, designed every centerpiece. It was her thing, you know? The one place where she felt important. This year, she wasn't invited. Not as a coordinator, not as a guest, not at all. Her replacement was a woman named Jennifer Wu, who'd been Mom's assistant coordinator for the past 3 years. At the event, Jennifer gave a speech thanking all the volunteers and ended with this line: "I want to especially thank everyone who maintains integrity in our community and shows us what true character looks like." The room applauded. Dad drove by the country club that night. I know because Chelsea's friend saw him. His car was parked across the street from the entrance, engine running, just sitting there. He watched as all his former friends arrived in their expensive cars, wearing their expensive clothes, celebrating without him. He sat there for 2 hours, then drove away. The social exile was complete. Everything they'd built, every connection they'd made, every relationship they'd cultivated gone, and they'd done it to themselves. Meanwhile, Chelsea was changing. Living with me and Mike had given her space to process everything, and she'd started therapy. She was dealing with the identity theft by working with a credit counselor and a lawyer to dispute the fraudulent accounts. She'd filed police reports, she'd frozen her credit, she was taking control, and then she got a job offer. It came out of nowhere, a company in Seattle that she'd applied to months ago, back before everything had happened. They wanted her to start in 3 weeks. The salary was almost double what she'd been making. "I'm going to take it," she told me over breakfast one morning. Yeah, I need a fresh start, away from all of this. Away from them. "I get it," I said. "I really do." She left our parents a note. Just one sentence. "You did this." She left it on their kitchen counter, along with copies of all the identity theft police reports she'd filed. Then she blocked their numbers and changed all her passwords. On moving day, Mike and I helped her pack up a U-Haul. We were loading the last box when Mom and Dad's car pulled up. They both got out, and Mom was crying before she even reached the driveway. "Chelsea, please don't go," she begged. "We can fix this. We can work through this as a family. Please, baby, don't leave like this." Chelsea didn't stop packing. She just kept loading boxes. Dad walked toward her. "Chelsea, look at me. You're making a mistake. You're going to regret this." She turned around then, and I saw something in her face I'd never seen before. Strength, maybe, or just exhaustion from years of manipulation. "The only mistake I made was trusting you," she said. "Both of you. But I'm done now." "We're your parents," Mom shrieked. "You can't just abandon us." "Watch me." Chelsea climbed into the U-Haul, started the engine, and pulled away. She didn't look back. I watched from my car as our parents stood in the driveway, Mom sobbing, Dad's hands clenched into fists. I drove past them without stopping. 2 weeks later, the foreclosure finalized. I didn't mean to drive by their house that day. I was taking a different route to avoid traffic, but I ended up on their street right as the auction was happening. There was a small crowd gathered on the lawn, real estate investors, mostly, looking for a deal. A woman in a business suit stood on the porch with a clipboard, calling out bids. Mom and Dad's car was in the driveway, and I could see them through the window, loading boxes into a rental truck. All their furniture, their belongings, their life being stuffed into a 10-foot U-Haul because they couldn't afford anything bigger. Mom was crying, obviously. Even from a distance, I could see her shoulders shaking. Dad was just mechanically carrying boxes, his face blank. I pulled over across the street and watched. Dad carried out a lamp I recognized from their living room, then a dining chair, then a box marked kitchen. Each trip to the truck seemed to take more effort, like he was moving through water. Then Dad looked up and saw my car. We made eye contact across the street. I saw the exact moment he recognized me. His whole body went rigid, and he dropped the box he was carrying. Something inside it shattered. I heard the crash from across the street. He started walking toward me. I could have left. I could have driven away, but I didn't. I stayed perfectly still, hands on the steering wheel, as Dad crossed the street and stopped at my car window. For a moment, we just looked at each other. "Are you happy now?" he finally said. His voice was hoarse. "Is this what you wanted? To watch us lose everything?" I didn't answer. "We're your parents, Natalie. We gave you life. We raised you. This is how you repay us?" I rolled down my window just enough to speak clearly. "You stole from me. You stole from Chelsea. You stole from your own mother. You stole from everyone who ever tried to help us. This isn't what I did to you. This is what you did to yourselves. We made mistakes. You committed crimes. There's a difference." He reached for my door handle, and I locked it immediately. He pulled anyway, yanking hard enough to rock the car. "Let me in. We need to talk about this like adults. We need to..." I rolled up the window and put the car in drive. Dad started banging on the hood. "Natalie, you can't just leave. We're your family." I pulled away slowly, forcing him to step back. In my rearview mirror, I watched him standing in the middle of the street, his arms at his sides, getting smaller and smaller as I drove away. Make sure to click on the screen to watch another story.